Hey everyone, this is Gary from Gary's Place. Welcome to Gary's Place. I just wanted to give a little commentary for this next video. A little bit of a repeat, as was my last video, but I thought it was important to, add some clarification. A couple of the people who contacted me, there was some extra information they asked for, so I added it into these videos. And also to just wanted to make sure that I had done everything in depth, thorough, and hopefully answered any questions. So I hope you guys enjoy. These videos were taken in different segments, and to be quite honest, when I first made them, I wasn't really sure that I wanted to put them out. Sorry for the noise. Got the printer going here. It's been pretty much non-stop since I installed it. So, all right, enjoy the content, and as always, if you like what you hear, subscribe. Thank you. Okay, guys, so welcome back. I'm just gonna go through this real quick. I already did a video on this before, but I'm going to do a second one just for the hell of it. So, got this new fan shroud, okay, and I've got this new, it's not really new, but different, properly working extruder head, okay. So, we're going to go ahead and toss these two on. I figure I might as well make another video of it just for the hell of it. So, this is the Sunlu S8, okay, and I'm going to be upgrading these parts. I do have a couple new hot ends that I want to try, but I gotta print some bracketry and some stuff for them. So I'm not gonna start down that road right just yet. But for today, we're gonna keep with the stock hot end. Now, so we take the first screw out of the top here. Take the other screw out of the back here. So there's two screws that hold this on, and then there's a little notch on this side here. So when you pull it off, you have to kind of lever it over. Maybe even put your finger here on the bracket so you can push back and get that unhooked so you can see that pull right there. Okay, that hooks right on the bracket there. All right. So now that we got that off, I'm going to be replacing both these parts, so I'm just going to go ahead and take the hot end off of this for now. In a technical sense, in order to put this on, you don't really need to take that off. But just to get a little more, room here, I'm going to go ahead and do it. Now, what I do with this is I loosen these up, and now I know that this is only a single hot end, but I take off this quick connect tubing fitting here, just because, I know if you had like a dual setup, you'd want to take a level and you'd want to slap it across the top there, just to make sure that you are level, and then obviously then you'd have another leveling process to do in order to get them done. Being a single extruder or a single hot end, I don't really need to do that. I just kind of like to. I like to know that my parts are in there square, so I am going to do that. And in this case, I am also going to be replacing the top to the extruder there, and honestly, I don't like this PTF, this white PTF crap, so I'm going to take that off. Okay, so with these, they actually come with a clip. Okay, you pop the clip out, you push the fitting up into the tube, and then you pull down this little black collar. You can see that there. Okay, and then that'll pull right off the tube. Now, the stock ones that you get from Sunlu, okay, you saw how easily this came off. Now, after this gets hot, and after this tube sees some heat, and after you get some time in, what's going to happen is there's a little metal ring with some teeth in here that actually grab onto this, which you can actually feel there's a lip on the end of this now. That will eventually, after a lot of working back and forth, where the tube's moving back and forth, okay, it's eventually going to break the metal because it's really cheap and it's really bad metal that they use for the ones in here. So I would always recommend that you have a few of these laying around, because if you ever want to change anything here and you have an issue getting this off, well, tough luck if you don't have a spare when this one breaks. And also too, this is the cause of some issues that you can have later on down the line, because this tube, what'll happen is, especially the one down here, it'll move in and out and in and out and in and out. And I do recall when before I bought this, I was having all sorts of trouble with this extruder head, and in taking off this tube, all those or that ring that has the teeth in it just came out in a bunch of little pieces all over the place. And then because I didn't have a spare, because when you buy the printer, they give you a little bag with some spare parts. Okay, there's a quick connect fitting in there for the hot end. There is not a quick connect fitting for here, because even Sunlu knows that you are going to replace this very quickly as soon as you figure out why it's doing, why it's skipping so much and why you're getting such bad prints. I mean, the initial print that I got off of this printer, okay, which I wish I wouldn't have wasted my initial print on one of the test prints that's in the memory card. Okay, that print came out beautifully and perfect, and then every print I did after that turned out like garbage. And that's for two reasons. One, the I think this head is pretty much good for one print. And B, uh, the every print that I did after the test prints were using generic Cura settings, and obviously generic Cura settings don't work well. And I just kept racking my brain. Why? Why is this that whatever settings that they used worked well, but now I'm trying to I'm trying to print some stuff out with this, and it's turning out terrible. And it obviously took me a while to realize that that's because they know what settings work well in Cura. They don't pass that along, and my only thought is that technically they can't, because they're not Creality, so they can't market this as a Creality printer. They can, granted it's all open source, and yeah, it's pretty much the same thing as the CR10, but they can't market it that way, right? So they can't say, oh, by the way, use Cura settings and it'll work great. I'm sorry, use Creality settings and it'll work great. They can't say that straight out. So, all right, so here's what we're looking at here to replace this. There is spring that's on there like that. Okay, you can see this screw right here. Okay, so you undo that screw. It's best to undo the screw for the little pulley wheel, okay, just to get it out of the way, and it relieves some tension here so you can pull this up and off. We get rid of those. Then there's 3 more screws up here, okay, no big deal. I would show it to you, but honestly, I don't really, I mean, you guys can undo a screw. I'm just kind of pointing out and having a little commentary. So you get the smallest of this Allen screw, or Allen head that they have. And actually, you know what? Hold on. I'm gonna see if I can get this out uh, without taking the pulley off the gear, because honestly, I don't. With how open it is, I don't really think I'm gonna need to. But let's give this a try. All right, let's see here. I should get you guys a different angle. Hold on a second. let me just, sorry, I just did the video for setting this thing up. I wasn't going to do a video for replacing these parts, but then I thought, you know what, I got the camera set up here, I've got, you know, why not? Let's make the video. So, let's see, yeah, it's a little better. We'll go for that. So, working up here. See this wires in the way. Let's see if we can get you guys a better view. Well, either way, it's just a few screws to undo here. And that one bottom screw is a little bit smaller. It's kind of recessed under the arm, so you know, if you guys are thinking that you can just take the 3 screws out and you're wondering, you know, without releasing the arm and you're wondering what's going on, that's probably the answer to what's going on, is that there's one recessed screw underneath the arm, so you do definitely need to take the arm off. Let's see here. I'm just going to double check here, because I think, let's see, there's our old one. You can see we have one screw here, one screw here. There's a little recess here that's underneath the arm, and that's what you need. So I think my other one already has all the replacement screws, but I'll keep this around just in case. I just want to double check that there isn't anything different about these pulleys, because if there isn't, I'm just going to leave that one on. I don't really think there was anything different about them. I don't know that they were quite identical, but yeah, there's nothing different. There's not enough different about them for me to care. So I'm going to leave that alone, because just so you guys know, you're opening up a slight Pandora's box when you go for these, okay? My suggestion would be, don't waste your time trying to take these, these brass gears, okay? Don't waste your time taking those off unless you have like a little mini easy out or something, or, you know, threaded screw, you know, like I've got a set of easy outs, and you just tap them in, and then you can use a pair of pliers to turn them. The set screws they use on these, they the set screws that they use on them are pretty much one-time use, I think. I mean, that's how I would describe them, at least. I would describe them as a single use, just because they pretty much strip them out when they put them on, you know, because they use such cheap material. Okay, and you know, you don't want to end up in a situation where you have the thing half loosened up, but the threads are, I mean, I'm sorry, the head of the screw is all gnarled up and you can't get it tightened or loosened, you know what I mean? Okay, so we may end up with an issue here. Remember what I told you guys about how these are kind of cheap and it's kind of hit or miss whether you're ever going to get them off? Oh, never mind, I got it. But did the teeth come out of it? No, they're all still in there. Okay. The reason I'm doing this separately like that is because, oh, there's some plastic in this one. There it goes. All right. The reason I'm doing this is because I don't want to take these zip ties off here. I know there's replacements in the bag there, but why waste them? You know, I mean, I was able to sneak the tube out without removing them. The only thing is, obviously, the fitting's not going to fit in there, so I'll do that. Not that I'm cheap or anything, but you know, why waste? Oh, unless you have to. Maybe I will have to. Oh, well, there we go. Okay. Last one. There we go. Okay. There. See? No waste. I am going to need to add one too for the fan shield, but we'll get to that in a minute. Now, let's see what I got for screws here. I tried to keep all this stuff separate, but you can see the reason that this one is so much better is because of this bushing. Okay, bushing sits in the hole there, and that way this screw can be fully tightened down, and this arm will still move perfectly freely. Now, on the old one, that was not the case because there's no bushing here. Okay, the screw just goes directly into that hole, and if you fully tighten this arm will never move. So, um, very, very, very bad design there. Let's see if I can remember how this thing goes back together. It's been a little while since I've done this. I mean, I don't really have an issue with how it goes together. It's just which screw goes through which hole. And like that one's obvious. That one definitely goes there. There we go. And that one goes there. Yep. I think we're getting the hang of it here. Whoops. That's getting a little warm in here. Starting to lose my grip. And then for some weird reason, that little recessed screw down there is a different size. I don't quite know why they do that, but they do it nonetheless. Okay, and again, guys, I never tighten anything down until the end. You get everything nice and snug, and then once everything's in place, then you can go ahead and tighten everything down, with one exception. Now, we know that this one screw back here is recessed for a reason so that the arm can go over top of it. So I'm going to have to tighten that one down all the way. But I figured it was probably best to get all of them snugged that I can before I tighten this one. That way we make sure everything's nice and tight. No issues. All right, there's that. Now, see if I remember how this goes. So this one's got a little screw here, okay? That sits around the spring so the spring can't go anywhere. And there's a matching screw in the base as well. So that way, once you get this thing in place, you know that that spring isn't going to go flinging off in whatever direction it feels like. And again, you can go ahead and tighten this all the way down because of the way that they design this. Makes it so that this can be completely tight and that arm moves nice and freely. No issues. No problems. Okay, now we need the bearing. Let's see, there's this little lock washer. And there's a screw. Okay, that's for the bearing. Now, wish I could say I knew what all that extra hardware was for. Well, maybe it was for the other printer and I didn't send back because I was trying to be fair with them. When I sent it back, I tried to include everything that it came with, and that included all the hardware that I could find. Maybe I did make a slight miscalculation on how many screws there were, or there were supposed to be, I guess. Okay, that pulleys nice and tight. Okay, now we can go ahead and slide this back in. Now, I would suggest that you pull in and out on this tube, and I'll tell you why. Because you get retractions going back and forth, okay? And there's very little extra space inside this tube. You know, they do that on purpose so there's not a whole lot of slack so that they know exactly how much, you know, they want the filament to pretty much fill up the entire tube. And if you have too much slack back and forth, it's going to give you sloppy um, retractions, okay? Um, but this seems nice and tight. But I would suggest you work that back and forth, especially if you just released it, just to make sure that that ring inside didn't break. I mean, I looked inside to see that it was there, but sometimes you never know. You gotta take a good look at it. So, word of caution, guys. Okay, so now we can get this out of the way. Now remember, some of these parts in here are not exactly what you would call OSHA compliant because they're internal parts. You know, they didn't really have to, buff off all the burrs and all that stuff. So like just now I caught a little one. There's sharp edges and whatnot in this aluminum because it's technically considered an internal part. So be mindful of that when you're screwing around in here. Last thing you want to do is start something and or screwing up your fingers. Okay. Now if we look in here, there's 4 screws on this one and a little bracket holding that LED in. And then on the other fan, there are 3 screws on the outside. I think that's it. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any on the inside. So this front facing fan, which is the fan for the hot end, will need to come off first. Okay, all the screws are on the inside. There are no external screws. So let's see, what do we got? Looks like it's the little one or the really little one. And these aren't really going to be tight, guys. It's just, they're. I mean, I guess especially with the fact that half of the screws in the damn thing weren't tight to begin with. Um, you can only expect so much. Okay. I even sent this bracket back with it because honestly, why waste your time stealing bad, poorly designed equipment? Now, make sure you keep all the screws for this, and I'll tell you why. Um, that red squirrel fan duct that I printed out. I know I'm always talking about it. I know I'm always raving about it, but he did a fantastic job designing that. If you guys are the type that support these things you find on Thingiverse, definitely support that guy. He did a phenomenal job with that, and I'll tell you why. Because, pardon me, you can use all of these screws that you're taking out of here, okay, and you can use them on that fan shroud. It all works the same. So most of those fan shrouds that you find on Thingiverse, they generally have the stipulation that you need to supply some extra screws and whatnot, or you need to change the screws, but not in this case. Like I said, he did a very good job. Now this LED just kind of wiggles out. There's a little plastic bushing they put in this little metal piece, but that just wiggles out. Leave the bushing in the metal. Okay. So now that fans out. Oops, don't lose your screws. You're gonna need them. Just a second, guys. It looks like we need a Phillips head screwdriver here. I keep one of these little multi screwdriver deals here. It's a little electronics one. Get the right fitting here. Probably more professionals should do this and to be all ready, but you know what? You can waste your time being too professional, or you can get things done, you know? I prefer to get things done. Oh boy, we're probably gonna have a problem here. Because these, yeah, that first one, these screws just go right into the plastic of the fan, secure themselves in, and that first one was completely stripped. It just pretty much fell right out. Nothing beats good manufacturing, you know? Alright, let's see here. Okay. Alright, and then on this fan, okay, because this is the part cooling fan, alright, it has this little mini diverter on the bottom. I guess that's why it only had 3 screws. Because the fourth one on the bottom goes through this little, it's just a little, it's actually metal. It's just a little air diverter, but it doesn't do a good job, it really doesn't. And of course you're not going to want that on there in order to get this thing set up. So. Alright, so that's that. We got everything all off. We got 2 fans, we got an LED, and we got a hot end, okay? Now my hot end is brand new, so I don't really have to worry about anything here. But now might be a good time to change something else out if you guys are thinking about it. But if not, we'll just move on. Okay, so we have our new fan shroud. Now, when you print this out, there are several options. There are also a couple of options of hot end that this machine gets. Straight from the factory, they are not consistent. Go figure, right? Now, I think this one's just like my other one, but I'm going to double check that here. Okay, so the wiring goes on the inside like that, and then this slides right in. Sorry if I'm not getting that on the video. I'm just trying to move along here. Okay, so, and as you can see, those 2 little vents right there point directly at the hot end. So, yeah, a little maneuvering around here. Actually, I don't really see I don't really think they did a very, hold on. Sorry guys, I don't mean to be a pain. I'm just trying to get this set into place properly. Oh, the zip ties in the way. Okay. Oh, that makes sense. Let's try sliding it in instead. Nope, definitely lever it in from the back. Gotta make sure you get the wiring in first. Oh, this sucker's a nice tight fit. My last one was kind of loose. But that's the difference in material. I did this one also out of PETG this time, just to make sure I had a little better thermal properties. I really did worry about the last one, to be quite honest. Alright, let's see. Okay, so this has got to go in here, like so. Okay, I see the problem, guys. We've got to snip that bottom zip tie off because it's just getting in the way, and also too, the wiring's got to be slightly separated here a little bit so that we can get everything in its proper place. So that's a ticket. That's what we're looking at. Thing had me feeling stupid there for a minute. Oh yeah, look at that. Fits in there perfectly now. Okay. So yeah, make sure you snip off that bottom zip tie. That was totally my problem there. Now, one of the main things I really like about this design is A, they accounted for the LED, which I'll just snap into place here. Kind of just hangs out in there. It's not really like a, just goes right in. Okay. Then you actually even put little notches for the wiring to run through. Okay. And then this fan goes straight down like that. But the wiring's got to come out, and then the fan goes in. Okay, and then we just snap that into place. Make sure your holes line up. You can see the holes through it. Okay, and then this fan, I'm just going to lever this in like that. And then we just line up the holes. Okay, nothing big, but you can see everything's got a home. Everything lives in, you know. And then it's got this nice little spot here to zip tie the wiring back in. And yeah, okay, you got a little bit of wiring sticking out here, but I don't know. I think as far as engineering goes, this dude did a good job. So I'm going to say I'm happy with it. Now, let's see. I think this is where I had a little issue the first time around. Because you want to use the right screws for the right spot. So these little shorter plastic teeth. Okay. Well, that ain't going to work. Well, maybe it will. Let's see. No, it will not. Okay. Okay. So before we get too far in this, we're going to want to remount the hot end. Okay. Best to install this without it in the shroud. Just let the shroud hang there. Go ahead. So I bring these up to a snug. Okay. Then I toss a level on the top. And then we snug that up. Okay. Put the wiring in there. Lever this on. And then now, now's a good time to grab a zip tie. The spares they give you will be fine, or whatever you got laying around. Okay. And then I lay it behind here. Okay. So that when you install this screw down here, it's already in, and then you don't regret that one later. So let's how many small Allen keys they give you here. So you gotta make sure the wiring's out of your way for the screw down here. And then we want to line that up there's that. Now, we have this little bracket that was printed out with it. It goes right here over that little edge tab. Okay. We just need a couple of screws to set it. Okay guys, sorry about that. Didn't mean to fast forward this on you a little bit, but had to figure out how these screws fit in there properly. So the two longer Phillips screws, I put one in each corner of this fan, and then use two of the normal screws, the little Allen screws, for the other two holes. It seems to hold it in there quite nicely. On the end here, this bracket got the shorter Phillips head screw and one of the small Allen screws that go into the front fan. The part fan got one of the longer Phillips screws and then one of the shorter Allen screws that goes for this other fan. That's all of the screws used. All of the holes are filled and everything's in place right now. I did level off my hot end and did put the tube back in, so we are all set to go here. Again, sorry I didn't mean to fast forward that on you guys. It just took me a minute to figure out how, what order all of that went in, because it's a little funny. Hope that helps. And I think that wraps it up for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry if it was a little choppy and a little back and forth, but you know how these things go sometimes. All right, well, thank you for stopping at Gary's Place. If you like the content, please subscribe. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions. Please let me know if there's any content that you want me to add in, and I'll see you guys in the next video. All right, thanks for stopping at Gary's Place, and you're always welcome. Bye. Just wanted to add one last note, guys. Wanted to make sure that this video was complete. There's this little yellow sticker here that says that you need to select the voltage. Before you plug this thing in and turn it on, there's a switch back here. You have to make sure that the voltage matches the voltage that you're going to be using. I have, the voltage here is 115, 110. This says 115. So I will set it appropriately. Depending on where you live in the world, you may or may not have that, but make sure that your voltage is set properly. Okay, thank you.